Hey guys, what is up? I am back, finally. It's been like forever, and no, I didn't die. I'm still here, I guess. So, it's been like 2 months. 2 whole months since my last videos. So, I haven't really touched my project much. I kind of just like worked on some other stuff. So, anyways, excuse me, so I'm just gonna be going over the last stuff that I did for my thing. I think I added I add this little white, what the hell? This little white speck right here is the last, basically pole or crane that they used. That they used to deploy lifeboats with. Basically the last one that still exists on the wreck. I added this Kraken. It wasn't as it's a lot bigger than I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be thinner, but that's mostly because I took a blowtorch to it and I kind of tried to melt it down. I melted down the back area and cut it out. I am going to be one yeah, that's basically all I've done. So and basically I patched up the holes and cracks that I didn't want before that I had to make in order to successfully bend the hull or whatever, if you will. And anyways, now when I paint it, I'll be painting over that. And be sure you get it nice and flattened down if you do, in fact, have cracks and stuff that you didn't want and stuff. I may do some up here as well, because it's kind of needed. Maybe some back here. There wasn't supposed to be a crack through here. And as I said before, I actually took a blowtorch to it to melt it down a little bit. I melted the front down a little bit. I opened this crack up a little bit by melting it. And this part completely got melted down. I kind of wish I didn't do that to an extent as I did. As an extent I did. I hate this stupid ass chair. So yeah, anyways, one more thing about these little pink patches. If you want to, you can put holes along in them. Just follow the pattern of the rest of the ship, and if it's kind of like an odd pattern like the Titanic was, you can just search up an image of what the hull looked like and go like, okay, so this is right above where this is, so just poking some holes in a similar pattern. And I haven't done that yet. Just like take a needle and just like, and yeah. I am also going to be using this pink paper as the back decks. I haven't glued any in. I'm just showing you what I'm doing. So if you look at the hull, so if you look at the wreck, you can look at an actual image of the wreck. You can see that how the hull is bending out and falling onto the ground, while the floors are staying in one piece and are now bending downwards. And you could see boilers along the back of it. And anyways, I ain't done with it yet. I still need to glue it in and paint it. And speaking of which, paints probably won't be coming soon. That'll probably be the last video I do, just so you guys know, painting it. Because mostly because I just haven't had the money for painting it, the Exhibit A. And so yeah, I will paint it when I get the chance. But anyways, back to the main point. We're going to be actually working on the stern today. Now the stern is way more complicated than the than the bow, because if you look at the stern's completely demolished. I actually have an image up here. I mean, you can see from this is from the National Geographic, just so you know. If you look from the front, you can see the motors and stuff. We also need to get we also need to get some of those, which motors and stuff, and you can anyways, you can kind of see how it kind of makes the bow like shape. But if you just look at the side profile, it just looks like a pile of old sheet metal. And so anyways, what we need to do here is we need to basically take, basically what we need to do here in order to show the motors the engines were actually directly under the third smokestack, and the front ones, which you see here in this image, are actually sticking out right about in here, and basically this entire section is gone, got bent over backwards and fell out, or just got ripped off, if you will, during its decline. I kind of had a 360 clockwork work thing. It's kind of hard to explain. You just have to search up a video on how they believe it sunk. This got bent over backwards. Well, I'm gonna be stripping all the benches, all this junk off. I'm gonna be stripping the mass off. I'm gonna be stripping all the cranes off. I'm gonna be drilling out holes in these. I'm gonna be drilling out a hole in top, because you can see kind of the smokestack hole right there, that little black empty hole right there in the middle of it. And well, that's actually that, I believe. So yeah, so right about here where those two benches are, that little white piece is in between, the little white house is where the engines would be. And anyways, we're basically just gonna rip all this stuff off. It's gonna be really hard to do the decks, because if you look closely at the side, basically all the hull is ripped off, and it's just the decks and the rib cage, if you will, just going along the side. You can see the decks going along the ship, and basically it's gonna be a pain in the butt. A lot of this back part is intact. The propellers are still intact. The hull is still intact. It still has this general shape, but for the rest of it, it's basically just ripped to shreds. And yeah, so for starters, this is going to be really difficult. But for starters, we're just going to rip all the unnecessary stuff off. I'm going to take a Dremel and just drill this front part off slowly at kind of like an angle. And yeah, basically to get started, we're gonna cut out those staircases and cut out underneath it, and we're gonna bend this piece over backwards on itself, and then we're gonna have to cut somewhere through here and bend the hull back over on itself, kind of like trying to lie to the ground, kind of like what we have here, but to a much higher degree. It's really going to be a pain in the ass. So I've been chatting for about 10 minutes now about what I'm gonna do, so let's just go ahead and do it. Hey everybody, we're back, and could you excuse me for a sec? Sorry about that. I just had a little bit of a complication there, and there's a thing going on. So anyways, I'd like to point out what I did. So on the front decks, I took all the benches and stuff off. I actually cut this section of the deck off, just right after this house here. It actually comes up further, because right about here are where those two engine masses are going to be, except lower down, like below, like right about here. Here, but anyways, it just gives me more room to work. Be sure and hold on to these pieces, because they will definitely come in handy for scrap metal, as I do with all my pieces. I even keep the melted pieces from the Drunel, because they look like westicles, and I can just rip them apart and glue them on to the final thing. I also tried to bend this back over on itself. I should have used a lighter, excuse me, to press down. But I was actually trying to do something else. I was trying to use this thing and slowly press it down on itself, and yeah, I kind of screwed up. It still works, because like I can like just glue it back down, and basically what it does is just the section of the upper deck bent back over itself, and basically it bends back over itself, kind of like that, hangs over the edge. Quite similar to what we see here. All these rivets and stuff you see here are actually just the deck bent back over onto itself. So yeah, and we're gonna we're gonna smooth all those out, and we're gonna put some paper in as this lower deck here. And so, yeah, basically that's it. I have discovered that I took a closer look, and I discovered some new stuff. So the paper was folded in half, and basically this little white spot right here, this little white circle, is actually that crane right there. Yeah, that's that one right there. And it basically, you can see the crane section of it leaning out over the edge. So this crane is actually still there. It survived and is now hanging out over the edge. And this little piece of round metal coming off here is actually the mass. So it's going to be bending over here. I don't think this one survived. I'm just keeping it for now. We got some more unidentified objects, which are like this. I don't know what this is. I'd love to know, because it's definitely not a door. It kind of looks like one, but it's too big. We have this piece right here that's broken out. This was a wall. I can actually show you where it goes. It's from these two windows, and this was the mass deck, basically right here. So yeah, guys, that is going to be it for this video, simply because I'm running out of time. I'm really hoping the stern section is really looking at. I mean, the bow section itself kind of looked well, it still looks like a wreck, but not the Titanic wreck specifically. Although I guess it kind of does. That's just. So I'm fingers crossed on this one. It's basically just a bunch of scrap metal, and it's just going to be a major pain in the butt to basically put together. So anyways, that'll be it for this episode, guys. If I'd love to know how to make some engines. I think I might just do my own thing. Like, I got some old like tubes I could use that are really small, and for the upper hydraulic sections that you see. So I think I might do that. I'm gonna check out some other stuff to see if I can do that. If you have any questions on how to do something, please leave it below in the comments, and I will be sure to answer them in my next video. And I think that's it. I'm trying to think of more stuff to do, because, well, anyways, later.